Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the 16th episode of the Pipe G'd Out podcast. Today, we're going to be talking, similarly to last podcast, we're going to be covering another one of our projects called the eThermal Bank. This is another project that's available on our platform to go and have a look at, to go and invest in. It is a electric battery company. What they do, eThermal, is they have designed a way to make electric cars, batteries in electric cars, more efficient. It's a new energy solution that uses electricity to create heat and cooling through a special process. It will then store and release the thermal energy in a way that's super efficient. So it can be easily charged with the same infrastructure used for electric vehicle batteries by handling the heating and cooling tasks. So it helps the main electric vehicle battery last longer, will improve the car's driving range, keeps the cabin at a comfortable temperature, and is a lot more affordable and eco-friendly alternative to traditional heating and cooling systems. So, what we're going to be talking about today, again, it's the eThermal, and we're also, similarly to last podcast, we've written a short story to sort of help create an idea of what a world potentially without eThermal bank could look like. Without electric cars. So we're going to be getting into that. This is probably going to become a new staple on our podcasts, especially when we're covering our projects that are on our platform, because we want to show you that if you don't become a Pipe GDAL patron and invest in these companies, we could potentially lose out on a lot more than just money. You could lose out on a lot more than just making money. So, we're going to go into this story. It's called The Range Divide. So, 2 decades earlier, a revolutionary thermochemical system had emerged, a breakthrough that promised to boost the electric vehicle range by 70%. It was hailed as the key to a clean energy future, but the dream was short lived. Legal battles, stalled patents, production costs soared, and traditional automakers resisted the change. The system never gained traction, and the vision of universal electric vehicle adoption crumbled, leaving a fractured world behind. In the gleaming cities of the electrified elite, the wealthy zipped around in sleek, short-range electric vehicles powered by sprawling solar farms and wind turbines. Charging stations were everywhere, but their vehicles, limited to 300 miles per charge, they were confined to carefully controlled grids. For the ultra-rich, the thermochemical system was a coveted luxury, installed in their private cars, extending the range to 500 miles. These modified EVs became symbols of status, used on exclusive private roads. Meanwhile, the cities were still powered by coal plants needed to keep the electrical grid running, causing the skies to grow hazy and the air thick with pollution. Beyond the city walls lay the fossil fringe, a vast expanse of decaying towns and rusting highways where gasoline reigned supreme, similar to the Mad Max films, one might say. The thermochemical breakthrough was nothing more than a myth, dismissed as rich man's magic by people who couldn't afford electric vehicles. Fossil fuel companies dug deeper into the earth, continuing to fuel an aging fleet of gas guzzling vehicles. The air was polluted and the highways were crumbling. Range anxiety was unheard of, but the fuel prices were so high that families struggled just to get to work. The divide between the two realms wasn't just economic, it was cultural. The elite looked down on the fringe, seeing them as backward, clinging to their dirty engines, while the fringe saw the elite as hypocrites, hoarding clean technology behind paywalls. Tensions erupted when a leaked report revealed that oil lobbyists had deliberately sabotaged the thermochemical system's early prototype, a scandal buried under layers of misinformation. Trust in innovation vanished, replaced by the harsh reality that progress has become a privilege for the rich. As climate change worsened, global emissions continued to climb. The Fringe, already battered by floods and wildfires, felt the worst of it. Children wore masks to school as thick clouds of smog hung over the land. The elite retreated behind fortified walls, their electric vehicles humming behind electrified gates. Meanwhile, the Fringe scavenged for scraps of a world left behind. The thermochemical system, once a symbol of hope, now sat as a relic in museums, its potential a cruel reminder of what might have been. One day, in a desolate town called Dusthaven, a young mechanic named Kayla discovered an old prototype in a forgotten warehouse. She'd heard the stories of its power, how it could have saved them all, and spent months carefully rebuilding it with salvage parts. With a trembling hand, she installed it in her battered EV, a rusted junker she had painstakingly revived. When she started the car, the dashboard flickered and the range meter shot up 600 miles on a single charge. For the first time, Callier allowed herself to dream a life beyond the Fringe. But the next morning, the mob came. They weren't there to celebrate. They came to destroy. It's too late, they screamed as they ripped her car apart. Callier stood there, watching, silent. The last hope of something better was shattered. You think they'll let us have it now, she whispered, watching the piece burn. In the end, the thermochemical system didn't fail because it couldn't work. It failed because humanity couldn't agree on it. The divide between the electrified elite and the fossil fringe became final, and a promising breakthrough, a technology that could have changed everything, became just another symbol of inequality. It was locked away, forgotten, as the world sped towards collapse on separate, inconceivable roads. So that's our story there. It's sort of the reference, or the technology referenced, is the Beast EV driving range, which sorry. The technology referenced was the e-thermal bank battery, which is to boost EV driving range significantly, up to 70%. It appears to be a high density thermochemical system designed to enhance the driving range of electric vehicles. While the specifics of the technology are not fully detailed in this story, it suggests that it's an innovative energy solution aimed at addressing one of the primary limits of EVs, sort of range anxiety due to limited battery capacity. And then based on this premise, we can go on and see potentially on the flip side some more utopian ideals. So the vision, which is to 70% boost in driving range, which electric vehicles could match and exceed range traditional internal combustion engine or ICE vehicles, eliminating one of the biggest barriers to mass adoption. This could lead to a world where fossil fuel powered cars become more obsolete, drastically reducing global carbon emissions. And then it can also have a major impact, and this comes along with the universal adoption of electric vehicles. It could have a major impact with cities with zero tailpipe emissions, cleaner air, and a significant reduction in greenhouse gases, pushing humanity closer to the climate goals that we've now set out for ourselves. Transportation becomes fully sustainable with electric vehicles powered by renewable energy, sources paired with this range extending technology. And then we can also look at a seamless global travel infrastructure. So the vision being, imagine a global network of electric vehicle charging stations augmented by this thermochemical system, where the drivers can travel vast distances across countries or even continents without worrying about frequent recharging stops. The technology could be integrated into vehicles or charging stations, making long distance travel as convenient as it is with the gasoline cars today. So the impact is a unified eco-friendly travel culture emerges, reducing reliance on air travel for medium distances and fostering interconnected low carbon societies. Rural and remote areas become more accessible as range limitations no longer restrict EV to electric vehicles use to urban environments. And then we can look at energy equity and accessibility. So if this technology is affordable and scalable, it could democratize access to advanced transportation. Developing nations or undeserved communities, often limited by infrastructure or costs, could leapfrog to clean energy mobility without needing extensive electrical grid upgrades. So we're looking at there a world where clean, efficient transportation is more of a right and not a privilege, narrowing economic and social gaps. Communities previously isolated by poor transport options gain new opportunities for trade, education, and healthcare, and then integration with renewable energy ecosystems. So we're looking at pairing this thermochemical system with solar, wind, or other renewable energy sources could create a closed loop, self sustaining energy ecosystem for electric vehicles. The technology might store excess renewable energy thermochemically, releasing it to extend range as needed, even in off grid scenarios. So, what we're talking about here is a decentralized energy future where vehicles not only run cleanly, but then they can also go on and serve as mobile energy storage units. So, contributing to grid stability or powering homes during outages. This could then go on and redefine energy independence on personal and communal levels. And then we can also look at a potential revolutionization of logistics and supply chains. So commercial fleets, for instance, in the UK, we've got lots of truckers, similar in America and across countries, delivery vans, even cargo ships or drones could adopt this technology to operate over longer distances without downtime for recharging. Logistics become faster, cheaper, and greener as range extended electric vehicles replace diesel powered vehicles. So, a global supply chain with near zero environmental footprint, reducing costs for goods and enabling sustainable commerce. Food deserts shrink as efficient, eco friendly transport brings fresh produce to remote areas affordably. And then we also going on to a enhanced space exploration and extreme environments. Now, this is far in the future. This is a big sort of step. But with the adoption of electric vehicles, we're starting to see more and more that fuel becoming potentially a thing of the past, and a lot more systems using electricity instead of being powered by fuel. And this can even go on to beyond Earth. So this high density thermochemical system that we're talking about could power vehicles or habitats in extreme environments like Mars rovers or lunar bases, where traditional batteries struggle with energy density and recharging limitations. Humanity's reach into space could expand with more reliable, long lasting energy solutions, enabling sustained exploration and colonization efforts. The technology could bring terrestrial and extraterrestrial innovation, uniting efforts towards a multiplanetary future. A cultural shift toward minimalist energy use. So, with electric vehicles capable of vastly extended ranges, society might rethink energy consumption habits. So, the efficiency of this technology could inspire a broader cultural movement towards minimalism and sustainability, reducing waste across industries. So, a utopian society where technology enables abundance without excess, fostering a collective ethos of responsibility and harmony with nature. Cities redesign themselves around clean, quiet, and efficient transport, prioritizing green spaces over sprawling highways. These utopian scenarios that I've just covered, they're going to assume that the technology is safe, cost effective, and scalable. Assumptions not yet verifiable with the limited information provided, but high density thermochemical system could imply heat based energy storage or release, which might pose engineering challenges or safety risks. Additionally, the environmental footprint of producing and disposing of such systems must be negligible for these visions to hold true. Without specifics of how to integrate, but then we will never know. But if you want specifics, you can go on to our project and you can have a look, get interested and all of that. You can go onto the pipegdao.io, click invest and become a patron, and travel through our launchpad looking at not just this project, but a lot of other projects too. We've got many coming onto the platform. Many we're going to load out. We're reviewing quite a few at the moment. So yeah, and then this is all what we're talking about here is all about electric vehicles. Sorry if I'm sprawling a little bit. What we're talking about here is electric vehicles. So electric vehicles, they're a critical component. With batteries are a critical component, and there's lots of pros to electric vehicles. A lot of environmental benefits. So zero emissions, renewable energy, integration, low operating costs because it's cheaper to charge, and there's a lot less maintenance. Quiet operations, which reduces noise pollution, incentives and tax benefits. There's government rebates, access to carpool lanes in some areas. Performance, there's instant torque because they're quick acceleration, smooth, responsive driving thanks to their electric motors. Regenerative braking helps recharge the battery while braking, increasing energy efficiency. There's sustainability, a lot fewer emissions over the lifetime. However, there's a couple cons as well. So there's limited driving range, which eThermal Bank is aiming to help with their increase of 70% usage of the lithium battery. So a lot of people have range anxiety that can cause concern for long trips, especially in areas with limited charging stations. It takes longer to refuel, so charging will take longer. It can take between 30 minutes to several hours to fully charge. Inconsistent charging infrastructure depending on where you live, and it's a higher upfront cost, so it's an expensive initial purchase. And then obviously there's battery degradation, so battery life over time. The battery's capacity can decrease, limited model variety, a lot fewer choices than there are with fuel cars, electric grid and battery production impact, so the energy source or other non-renewable sources, environmental benefits, it can be reduced. And then again, battery production, mining materials for electric vehicle batteries like lithium, cobalt, and nickel can have environmental and ethical concerns due to the extraction process. So a lot of electric vehicles, they have a lithium battery, which is the most common battery. They also have nickel, magnesium, cobalt, which is often used in the higher end electric cars, and then nickel, cobalt, aluminium, used in some Tesla models. There was actually a funny thing with Trump and his tariffs, where Tesla have contacted Trump to ask him to lower the tariff on aluminium shipped in from the European Union because it was costing them too much. So aluminium is a very important metal when it comes to the creation of Tesla cars, which, as we all know, is the biggest electric vehicle brand going currently. So there's quite a few electric brands. Obviously, Tesla is definitely the most well known and is recognized for its cutting edge technology. There's different models like the Model S, Model 3, Model X, Model Y, and then obviously the big one, the Cybertruck. It's a high performance vehicle. And it has long range capabilities, high performance, and advanced features like an autopilot. But there's other ones like Nissan are making it, Chevrolet, Ford, Volkswagen, BMW, Audi, Rivian, Lucid Motors, Porsche, and then other notable electric vehicle brands like BYD, which is a Chinese automaker known for producing a wide range of electric vehicles, including affordable options and buses. We were in a meeting earlier, and one of our branding guys, Wayne, he actually said to me, it's funny because BYD is actually a bigger company than Tesla themselves. However, Tesla obviously has the branding. Everyone knows what a Tesla is, but quite a few people don't know what BYD is, even though BYD make, I believe, more and export more cars than Tesla does. But BYD is a Chinese automaker. So outside of China, we might not be seeing a lot of BYD cars than we would do, say, see a Tesla. I mean, I went for lunch today and all I saw was, well, not all I saw, but I saw at least 3 to 4 Teslas on the road. So they're getting more and more common. So yes, this is eThermal Bank. Obviously, lithium, it's lithium batteries. increasing the driving range, which, as we said, similar to Tesla. The reason why people buy Teslas is because Tesla has such a nice driving range, long range capabilities, it's high performance. The eThermal Bank, which is the project that we are working with and that you can become a patron and invest in, will bring a 70% increase in all of outputs, including it's super efficient. So heating and cooling tasks, by handling the heating and cooling tasks, it helps the main EV battery last longer, improving the car's driving range and keeping the cabin comfortable. And with this, we can go and see different impacts that I've covered earlier in the podcast. So yeah, for me, we wanted to cover this one because I think electric vehicles are definitely getting more popular. They're really pushing out, again, with big brands like Tesla and other ones. I know Europe, the EU Union, a lot of cars are coming out of Germany, and France are producing a lot of electric vehicles. Even England are producing a lot of electric vehicles. It's definitely the way things are going because we've been tasked to cut carbon emissions by, was it 2030, I believe? And electric vehicles are definitely a massive step forward in doing that. So investing in an electric vehicle battery that can produce efficiency by 70% is definitely going to be a smart thing to do. Of course, this is non-financial advice, of course, but my only advice would be read the room. I personally believe this is the way things are going to be going. The future is definitely green. We are looking forward to an electric future with electric cars and electric roads. Here in England, we're already starting to ban cars being driven in city centres, especially fuel cars. I know Bristol, shame for all you petrol heads out there. Bristol, a city in England, a quite popular city in England, a really vibrant culture of partying and other things that I probably aren't safe for the podcast. They have banned cars driving in their city centre now, so their city centre is completely walkable, along with, of course, public transport. So yeah, the future is definitely, it's turning more towards electric vehicles. You're seeing more and more charging stations pop up around the country. I can't speak the same for Europe and other places like that, but I'm almost certain that this is the way it's going. There seems to be big investment in electric vehicles outside of just Tesla these days. So it's definitely something to look into. And to invest and do your own research, you can, again, go to the pipegdao.io in the link tree in the description, go to our launch pad, click invest, and become a patron to the Launchpad. And you can not only research this project, but you can research other projects that we will be covering in the future. The last one we covered was the size tank project, which we covered in the last podcast, a project which is a automated, it's a sensor device which will allow detection of seismic waves through wide range frequencies. So if you want to learn more about that, visit the last podcast. And we've got many other projects that are freely available on our platform via the DApp. So you can go to the website, click invest to where they see the projects, and it'll be on our Launchpad page. You don't need to go to the Launchpad site to invest because the DApp is available on the site. However, if you want to then go on and maybe invest in these projects, obviously you're going to have to click invest, sign up, and become a patron to the Pipe platform. So yes, that's all for me, and we will be covering another project next time, and I look forward to seeing you then.